Mhm. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to Dixie Belle. I am Crysta Barrera. I am from Litter to Glitter out of Plaza Garland in the great state of Texas, and I'm going to be here with you for the next few minutes. I just wanted to come on tonight and show you guys a lot, a lot. No, I'm not just going to show you a little bit. I'm going to show you a lot about prep. So when you come on, tell me hi, tell me where you're out of, and definitely, hey guys. So what we are going to be doing tonight is I am going to be talking all about white lightning and scuff sanding versus slick stick and a whole bunch of other little tips and tricks for you. Wanted to make sure I got my tablet up. I did remember to turn my volume down this time so we don't get an echo. So wanted to do that. Hey, Shannon from Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you for joining me, hun. So I see that the Furniture Duchess is on with us. So let me talk to you a little bit about what white lightning is. So if you are just beginning, or even if you're not, I'm hoping that I can give you some great tips tonight for your prep. So white lightning. So comes in this little jar. Let me show you. It comes in a crystallized form. It almost kind of looks, like salt or sugar in there is what it looks like. But what you do is you take your crystals, and what I do is I don't use the dunking method like in a bucket. What I do is I make mine up in a 1 gallon jug like this, and I used warm water. Depending upon where you live in the country, your water might be good. It might not be so good. Here, I'm on city water, and there's a whole bunch of chemicals and stuff in our water. So I actually go over to the dollar store and buy a gallon of water, and I make my white lightning out of bottled water. Just because if you do have a lot of chemicals and stuff in your drinking water, as you're cleaning your piece, you're actually putting those chemicals on your piece of furniture. Depending upon where you live, you never know. It could definitely mess with the adhesion of your products. So in my area, I use bottled water for my white lightning. Now, as you can see, I make sure that mine is, can y'all read that? White lightning, not made by Paw Paw, still do not drink. White lightning, not the good drinkable kind. I make sure that it is labeled properly in my studio so nobody gets the wrong idea and go, ooh, white lightning. Not that kind of white lightning. Make sure that it's. So some people use what I call as the dunking method. What they do is they get a bucket like this, and this is how they make their white lightning, and they use a rag, and they'll constantly dunk their rag in here and go piece back to their piece. I don't like using that method for 2 reasons. One is that as you're dunking, you're getting the dirt out, but also you're using dirty water. So as you're dunking and going back to your piece, you're putting dirt back on your piece. So I usually do not use white lightning like this. I'm going to be rinsing my cloths in this later so you can see how much dirt is coming off. I'm going to show you the method that I use. I go to the dollar store, Walmart, and I get the industrial cleaning bottles. And again, white lightning furniture cleaner, and back here, do not drink. Make sure that it is labeled so I know that what is on it. And then I put it in here, and that way I can spray my piece, and then I'll show you some of the products that I use to scrub my pieces down. And then this way, you're not using a lot of it. To me, the bucket method, you use so much of the product that it doesn't go as far. This way, I'm saving myself some money and some time and some effort and some energy. So I love using this method for my white lightning. So let me get to comments real quick. If you are a Dixie Belle retailer, please tag yourselves, your business, so people can find you. Huntsville, Alabama. Crickets from Pennsylvania. We got Shannon. Furniture Duchess is back in Atlanta and Georgia. Dixie Belle's on with us. Hey, Dixie Belle. got Tampa and Heath, Texas. I'm in Texas, North Carolina, Vermont, Alabama. Hi from Idaho. We got people from everywhere. That's awesome. So what I'm going to do is I am actually prepping this armoire. And so I'm going to be pulling you guys in a little bit closer. Now, when I prep, this is what I do in my studio. I have a prep kit. So I just went and got me, one of these. And I've got my white lightning in my bottle. I've got green scrubby pads. And then I also have this type of scrubby pad, and I have the smaller scrubbies as well. And then I have my lint-free cloths. And the reason that I do that, I also have an assortment of brushes, but I wouldn't need those brushes. If I had a piece that had details on it, such as moldings that were intricate, then I might have to use one of my scrubby brushes. That's why they're not in here today. I just grabbed what I needed for this. So I see somebody from Grand Prairie, Texas. Oh, we got somebody from Australia. Hey, baby. So everything that I need is right here in my little prep kit. And then I've got my rad pads once we get to our sanding, our scuff sand. Now I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer. I'm going to show you why. Right here is where the original hardware is. And the reason I'm going to bring you in is you can see how much over the years stuff is just built up and the gunk is in there and it's just like, ugh. So thought that would be a great way to show you exactly what to do with your white lightning cleaner. Now, before I do that, this is the piece that goes here. And this is the keyhole cover, which I have taken off. That way I don't have to worry about painting around it. So let me pull you guys in. Extreme close up. See how when they put it on over the years, and you can see all the gunk and the dirt that is just, and also that's a lot of the varnish that was put on as well, because obviously they put this on while the varnish was wet. And so we are going to work on that really, really quickly. Let me get you guys over to the other side because that's the way I roll. Oh, you can't see it. Okay. So we're going to go here because my arm will be in the way. And I like to hit it with my green scrubby first. And see, I'm just kind of soaking it down. And that way too, I'm just going to let it sit and drip and do what it needs to do while I work on my problem child areas, which this is going to be my problem child area. So hitting it with that green scrubby, that really rough green scrubby, you can see already how much gunk is coming off with just this green scrubby. It's amazing, isn't it? All the gunk that gets underneath your hardware. And so rinse it in my little cup there. Like I said, I want you guys to see how much dirt comes off because you're thinking your piece, well, it doesn't look dirty. Well, wait until you see how much gunk comes off of this thing. And so we're just going to wipe this down all over really quickly. And there has been paint flakes, and you can see where somebody had taped it at one point, put like, I guess when they moved, they may have used like shipper's tape to keep it shut while they moved. And so, we've got the residue and the stickiness from that. But I will hit this area several times just because of how, what is the word from the 80s? How grody. Oh my God, it's so grody. So it is definitely grody. And I will hit that several times because what I'm doing is I'm allowing the white lightning to work for me in that area. That's one of the things that I try to preach and I try to live by is you let the products work for you. You don't work for the products. So let me put you guys back there and I'll show you. I'm just going to scrub down. And I am going to work in areas tonight because we've got a lot that I want to cover and I've only got an hour to do it. So you're going to see me not doing the whole thing. And this is where the painter's tape or the shipper's tape was. And there's a lot of stuff coming off of that. And using the green scrubby, what is that's doing is that scrubby is grabbing on to, let's see if I can see the painter's tape and actually pulling that and the residue off. So great product to use for your prep is your green scrubby. I don't know if y'all can see where it's coming off, where that somebody had put tape here and it put tape across here, and it is really gunked on. Really gunked on. And so we're just going to scrub that out. I'm going to hit it again. Because what I'm doing right now is that I just want to make sure that I'm getting all this stuff off. And then I will go back and do a second scrub with my White Lightning. Just because of how old this piece is, you never know if it was in a smoker's house, sat in grandma's attic, Aunt Bertha's basement, if it was ever in an area that had water damage or other damage, elements, cats, dogs, animals, you never know. So I want to give it a really good scrub down. Oh yeah. I don't know if y'all can see that. See if I can get y'all in on the camera. I moved my hand, and when I moved, it pushed. You can see that dirt, just the White Lightning, that dirt is just where I've scrubbed. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it is just pouring down the front of this. So get you guys back up, move you back. Like I said, I just want you guys to understand great prep means a great finish. So see if y'all can, remember this was clean white water, pure white water. And that was just from that one little area, first scrub. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that and wring that out. I'm going to hit this again in this area. And in just a minute, since I'm letting this stuff go all the way to the floor, I actually just looked down and looked at my floor where it's actually dripping on the floor. And yeah, it's not looking good down there, but it's looking a lot better than it did if I painted over it. So we're gonna get down here to the bottom. Oh yeah, much better, much better. We're gonna hit this side. And you can just see the age and the years coming off this piece. So again, second. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do is I take a lint-free cloth. There it is. And I take clean water. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll take one cloth and I'm just going to wipe this down to try to get some of the hookies off. Now, one thing somebody has asked me before is, why are you cleaning before you sand? Now, the reason you clean before you sand is because, just like I had the residue here from the tape, if you were to scuff sand before you clean, what you're doing is you're going to push all of that gunk, that stuff from the, let's see here, that gunk, that grease, you're just going to be pushing that into your wood. And by doing so, what that does is that it could mess with, again, with the adhesion of your paint to your product. So real quick, I'm going to pull this, and do y'all see the floor? Right? See all the gookies on the floor where the water has that's what we're talking about. That's all that stuff we want to get off. We don't want that on our piece while we're painting. So I've taken a clean lint-free rag and just kind of wiped down. I'm just getting the excess off. Now, watch this. Now, this is this was a clean rag, but this is just getting that layer off and getting that stuff out of there. Could you imagine painting over that? So let me get the stuff on my floor real quick. Be right back. Okay, because I do not want to step in that. That is just gross. Ugh. Ooies, ooies, ooies. All right, before I go to the next step, let me get to comments real quick. See if I have any questions. Hey, Michaela. We got people from Australia, San Antonio. Yeah, Shannon said grody to the max. I'm glad somebody else is from that era and understands what I'm saying, because, yeah, it was, oh. So, hey, Ronnie. 2 Jaded Gems is on here. Hey, Amber. Teresa said she dropped into my business in Garland a couple months ago. Glad to see you're instructing on here. Yep. Hey, baby. Hey, Mon. And, oh, my girl, Christina's on from Repurposeful. So now I go back, and in my Mr. bottle, this is the same Mr. bottle I used to paint with, is, again, in my area, water is not that great. I use bottled water in my Mr. as well. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that everything is good and clean. So I am going to mist this down. Clean water, clean rag. And see, I'm only doing 2 sections on film tonight because I want to get to scuff sanding with you guys versus slick stick as well, and some basics on both of those. And so, I should video this and then sell it as an aerobic workout. What do you guys think? The Dixie Belle prep workout. I'm onto something there. I am so onto something there, guys. What do you think? So, okay. So, I'm trying to get this one. I usually let it air dry a little bit better. I usually don't wipe it so much. I just let it air dry. But I want to make sure that it's good and clean. Now you can see that was my clean coat. That was my clean towel. Now, since it was that grody, we're going to go back and do another misting, because the stuff is still coming off of it at that pace. I want to make sure that it's nice and clean. Good and clean. So there we go. there you go. Bend over. Yeah. Ugh. So again, not as much. Much, much better. Mo better. So Dixie Belle has a couple of different options for your scuff sanding. And you can either use the Dixie Belle sanding pad, which this is the Dixie Belle sanding pad. And I love this for scuff sanding. But also Dixie Belle sells the Surf Prep, and they come, there's 4 colors. There's 2 of each. They sell the Surf Prep multi-system, and there is 4. One is, well, I've got it right here. One is good for removing. The other one is for prepared. The fine is for preparing. The very fine is for finishes, and the super fine is to soothe or smooth. And so I am actually going to hit this area right here because there is still some gritties there that the White Lightning didn't take off. Just because it's not that the White Lightning didn't do its job. What it is varnish that we've gotten all the dirt off around it, but that right there is all varnish. So I'm going to hit this with my medium first. And of course you go with the grain. You see how easy that's coming up. With the medium. And if y'all remember what this looked like before, ugh. And this is just years and years of, again, if you're just coming in, this is the original hardware that was on that piece. And then, of course, the knob goes right there. And there was just years of stuff built up underneath of it that we got off with our White Lightning. So I'm going to scuff. I'll use the next step down, but over this, I want to get all of that off. There you go. And so scuff sanding, you're not trying to get right down to just the wood grain. What you're trying to do is that the paint adheres best to a surface that is not shiny. The shinier, that's what I said. The shinier your surface is, the harder it is for the paint to adhere. So on this, because it was varnished, it is very slick. So that's why I'm just trying to knock that shine off and make sure that my surface has something really, really great to adhere to. And so that's what I wanted to show y'all about scuff sanding. That's all it takes right there is just that little bit will knock the shine off and give your piece a great surface for the paint to adhere to. So you can do all of your lovely stuff to it just like that once we get the surface great. But this brings me to my next step. After you scuff sand, you can either White Lightning again if you'd like to, or you can take your Mister bottle again and then your lint-free cloth, and you're going to get all of that sanding dust off. And so really it doesn't take much time at all. And I'm going to let that dry while we work over here, because the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is Slick Stick. So Slick Stick, I really don't have to Slick Stick this, but I thought that since we were talking about prep, it would be a great way to get everything so you can decide for yourself whether or not you should be using Slick Stick or if a scuff sand is okay. So this was varnished. And if I could not easily get through that varnish because of how slick it was, then I'll slick stick it. If you're doing something that is PVC, glass, marble, leather, if something is like the IKEA furniture that is that particle board type thing, scuff sanding isn't going to work. And so slick stick is your go-to. And so if I could not get through that varnish on here, then I'd slick stick. So I'm going to show you guys on this piece right here, because I have cleaned it. I'm going to be slick sticking just a small area here just to show you guys. But the whole other part of this is going to be scuff sanded. Now, there's other reasons that you may or may not want to scuff sand your piece. It's not just because of the adhesion, like I said, such as marble or that kind of thing. It could also be health issues. There are people that have asthma, breathing problems. It could be that you are in an apartment, you've got small children, you don't want the dust in your area. If you are not in an area or a place or physically that you can scuff sand, then slick stick is your friend. As many of you know, I broke my thumb about 2 months ago, and I just got it out of the brace. And so slick stick and I became really, really good friends. I mean, amazingly good friends during that time. And even though it's not my dominant hand, just, you know, when you're sanding, especially if you are using an electric sander, it goes through your whole body. And sanding for me hurt. And so slick stick became my friend. Before I show you guys this, let me get to comments. I want to make sure that I am getting everyone's comments. Amber said she needs some rad pads. She's out. So what are my plans for this piece? You're going to have to go over to my Litter to Glitter page, baby, because I won't be back on for another 2 weeks. And I can tell you I got big plans for this, but I'm not waiting 2 weeks. I have got some huge. So are all Dixie Belle paints water-based? Dixie Belle paints are water-based, even though there is some oil-based products in our line. Such as like some of our gilding waxes, the no pain gel stain is oil based, but the paints themselves, the chalk mineral paints, are water based. They are all water based. So let's see here. So White Lightning is amazing here. Needs some rad pads. I'm glad you're doing this. We have an old piece that's at least 100 years of dirt, and I was a little worried about using too much White Lightning may cause damage to the wood. Now I know it's all good, and we'll go back for more scrubbing. Yeah. And Repurposeful said that she uses dollar store brushes. Yes, I was going to go over that. How long to wait in between slick stick? Okay, so let's go from the beginning on slick stick, because people were talking about brushes. Now, sorry, I need to grab one of these. This is a Dixie Belle regular chip brush, and then a Dixie Belle premium chip brush. So what you might notice is, one is the size, and two is the bristles. The bristles on these are a little bit more coarse, and so they will give you a more coarse and show more of your streaks, like paint strokes. Your premium chip brush is great. Will give you less. Now, some people will I use chip brushes when I do my slick stick coat, just because I am such a snob. I admit it, I'm a snob when it comes to my Dixie Belle minis and my Scarlet and my OMs and my OSs and my FSs. And yeah, I don't want to possibly make a mistake. Now, if you're familiar with Dixie Belle, we have a product called Scrubby Soap that is phenomenal. Love my scrubby soap. So even though I use a chip brush, I know that with my scrubby soap, as long as I don't let it wait too long and dry, then I know I'm not going to mess it up. I'm just a snob when it comes to my good brushes. So I always use a chip brush. Thank you. I don't want to ruin my premium. They are like gold to me. Yes, 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 yes. Amber, scrubby soap is the way to go. Love it. Comes in 3 scents. It's lemon, orange, and lemon lime. Orange is by far my favorite. So you can tell here, it's still very shiny here. See if y'all can, with the light difference. Can y'all see the difference between right here? The scuff sand is very dull, and here it is still very shiny. And so I know from hitting it here that it is not going, it'd be easy for me to scuff sand this whole thing out, no problem. So what I'm going to do though is just to show you guys slick stick, and I don't use, just a little bit, and I am going to just slick stick this one area so that y'all can see. And what this does is that it creates a bond between your slick surface and your piece, so you don't have to worry about adhesion and flaking and things of that nature. So it goes on just like paint. To me, it's very milky. I'll tilt my camera down. See, to me, it's very milky looking. It's very milky. And so there we go. And what I do is I do a very thin first coat. And then I allow it to dry for, I would say a few hours usually. I got a bristle. There you go. Another bristle. Bam. So I let it dry a few hours. Usually in between coats, what I normally do, and of course I wanted to do this on video for you guys, so I changed around my time frame. But usually what I do is if I've got a piece that I need to slick stick, I usually start slick sticking about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I will, it doesn't take you long to slick stick your first coat. And then what I do is I allow it to dry until lunch. So I give it 3-4 hours. Some people, depends upon, again, your climate, if it's humid, if it's raining. For me, I found that if it's raining, it takes longer for the slick stick to dry. So I usually give it 2-3 hours in between coats, between my first and my second coat. Normally, I give it till, start at 8, give it till about noon to dry, have lunch, come back. I'll do my second coat. And then what I'll do is I'll let it dry overnight. And I'm picky for that reason. I know people that'll do 1 coat, 2 coats, and then paint almost instantly. And sometimes, most of the time, they don't have a problem. Me, I hate to go back and do things 3, 4, 5 times or have to repeat myself. So the reason that I make sure that it is good and dry is that every time that you put a layer down, whether it be slick stick, boss, coats of paint, if you're using a glaze or a wax, every time you do something like that, you are adding another layer on top. And so you're building layers on your piece. If you don't allow the first coat to properly dry and you go back and do your second coat, and then you don't let that properly dry, and then you do your third coat, by the time you hit your third or your fourth coat, you could be pulling your paint. It could be causing other problems. And I just don't like to do that. So I give it time to do its thing. So me make sure. Do you think this piece is a bleeder? Will you use Boss after the slick stick? This one is not a bleeder at all. This is bird's eye maple, and it has been varnished. And I know that this piece is not a bleeder. Now, I have done in the 4 years I've been with Dixie Belle, I have only ever had to slick stick and Boss one piece. And I'm not even sure I needed to slick stick it. I think that was my fault, not a product fault. I thought it was my fault. And I've only had to do that once. I've never had a piece that needed to be slick sticked and bossed. Like I said, that once, but I think that was me. It was early in it. And I wasn't really sure of the usage and everything. So I think that was a me error, not a product error. So, yeah, you don't want to do slick stick down your drain. I was getting there. Thank you, Debbie, but I was getting there. Slick stick, it's just like with your patinas. Patina is made to corrode and rust. And so if you're putting it into your metal pipes, it could eventually cause an issue. Slick stick is made to adhere to surfaces. So if you are constantly putting it down your sink with PVC pipes, remember, this is designed to stick to PVC. So you can be causing yourself plumbing problems down the road. What I do is I take this hose bucket outside, I soak, and then I hit it with my hose, or I will take it and just rinse it. I do not put it down my sink. Make sure I dispose of it in an area that dogs, it's not toxic, but still, I don't want my dog getting into nasty water. Even if I'm scrubbing out a pot or a pan with soap, I'm not going to dispose of my water where animals can get a hold of it. So that is another thing. So what up to I'm going to be doing. Oh, Amber says she uses the scrubby soaps. She likes the lemon lime. Yes, Val. Does Dixie Belle have anything that gets out of the musty smell out of old furniture? Absolutely, Boss. So Boss, and also Big Mama's butter. I love me some Big Mama's butter. Anybody been following me a while knows I love my butter. And actually, I will be putting Big Mama's butter. Let me see if I can get this door open because, of course, I've taken the hardware off. Can y'all see the interior of that? Isn't that fabu? Love it. There is a shelf on this side. Get you guys in. There is a shelf over there, and there is another shelf right there, and then we've got hangers here and a hanger there. And I will be putting Big Mama's butter on the interior of this. Now, Boss, it blocks odors. Give me just a second since somebody asked about Boss. So this is Boss. It blocks odors, stains, and stops bleed through. And so if you've got a piece that you just can't get the smell out of, what you can do is you can use Boss. And what Boss does is it blocks the tannins, it blocks odors. Pro tip, it's not just the outside of your piece. If you've got a piece that just smells, you guys know that smell, okay? Y'all know it. You know that smell that you just can't get out no matter what you do. Make sure that you get inside of the drawers. Make sure you get underneath of the piece of furniture. Do the back, because it's not just the outside of your furniture that is going to smell. It is going to get into all of the wood, all over the place. It's not just the outside that smells. It's going to smell inside too. So if you need to block that, then Boss. You can do it for odors. If you've got a piece like cherry mahogany, then it'll block the tannins that is going to get your bleed through. Also, it helps if you're going from different colors of paint. If you've got a piece that is, say, somebody painted it neon pink and you want to go to white, Boss comes in 3 colors. There's white, gray, and also clear. And so the different colors of bosses work best for different applications. So talk to your local Dixie Belle retailer and they can give you more information, or you're welcome to reach out to me and I can help you as well figure out which boss is best for the project that you're working on. Get this back. Be right back. So, ta-da, I'm back. All right. So, let me see if I've got any more questions before I keep going. So yeah, definitely the Big Mama's butter. If it's not an overwhelming smell, the Big Mama's butter. I love the Big Mama's butter in Orange Grove, but I also like using the unscented with essential oils and making my own scents as well. If you're interested in that, hit me up. I'll get you the information. Let's see here. Hey, Donna. You can use kitty litter for disposal of cleaning water. It doesn't harm the environment. That is a great tip. I had not thought about kitty litter. That is awesome. Dana Ridge is on. Hey, girl. Yeah, we have these in the house that I grew up in Virginia. The house that I grew up in was built in 1902. And when it was built, there was no electricity or running water and there was no closets. So they used to use these as closets and the house had to be retrofitted for electricity and water. So do you use pure coat over the paint? So what do you mean, do we use clear coat over the paint? What you would do, I think that we were discussing Boss or Slick Stick. So have a question. I did a Dixie Belle mud repair. Do you recommend seal coat before Slick Stick? That was my plan. Okay. Dixie Belle mud is paintable. So if you're going to Slick Stick the entire thing, then just for color, when you paint over it, especially if it's something dark and you're going to go with Slick Stick, then for cohesiveness, I would just hit that mud repair. But mud is paintable, and so you don't have to go over the mud with Slick Stick, but you can if you want to. So Vicki Ellison asked, what about drawers that don't want to open and close after painting them? What can make them easy? Girl, Big Mama's butter. Big Mama's butter. Big Mama's butter. And absolutely perfect for that. What you do is you take your drawer out. I use a chip brush, put my Big Mama's butter on it, and I go down the slides underneath, and I go on the sides as well. And I do not buff it back. When I'm using it for my slides on my drawers, I don't buff it back. I leave it. I just put a coat on and I leave it. And it's like greasing a wheel. I mean, it will, Big Mama's butter on those will just make your blood. Oh, baby. It makes it. That's my advice is Big Mama's butter. That's what I use. I use my Big Mama's butter. So Dixie Belle even said they recommend applying the Big Mama's butter. See, we're on the same page. Big Mama's butter. Amber said Big Mama's butter. Yep, Big Mama's butter. Absolutely. So if you guys have any other questions, I will be happy to answer your questions about any other products that you might have or projects. If I don't get to them during this live, you're more than welcome to hit me up, send me a message. I'll be happy to answer you. Find your local Dixie Belle retailer. Our retailers, we go through a lot of training and they are a plethora of information for you. So seek out your local retailer. If you don't have one, please feel free to reach out to me. Repurposeful. So my girl Christina from Repurposeful says she'll be working with Big Mama's butter on her page tonight or tomorrow, working with wooden drawers and glides. There you go. So get with her right there. Thank you, Vintage Shop. She said it was a great learning lesson. So I am just about out of time. I know we've got other people coming up after me, so be sure to hang out, stay tuned. And please follow me on my Litter to Glitter page where you'll see some amazing. This one, oh, I just, I can't wait 2 weeks to do it. So I'm going to be hitting this this week on my Litter to Glitter page. Please come over there and follow me as well on that page, and you will see the transformation. It's going to be fab boo. And so hit me up. You got any questions? Feel free to ask. I'll be happy to answer them. Always you a Q&A. Girl, you got my number. It's on my Facebook page. I'm not that hard to get a hold of. Call me. Send me a message. Messenger, Facebook, email, text message. You know, I'm here. So I will be back with you guys 2 weeks from tonight and with another fabulous project. If there's anything that you guys have questions on or would like to see, you're more than welcome to send me a message and say, hey, Crysta, can you cover this? Because I'm not really sure, because that's actually what happened tonight. I had a customer, first-time customer, come in and say that she was a little bit confused and wanted to know. So I said, hey, I've got a video on Saturday. I'll be happy to do one on prep. And here we are. So if there's anything that you guys want to see, hit me up, let me know, and I will be happy to throw out a video when I come on every 2 weeks. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Much love to you all. Bye now.